Happy New Year, rodeo fans, and welcome to the first episode of 2024 Reno Rodeo 365. I'm your host, Jen Fisk, and I'm so excited that we can finally start the countdown to Reno Rodeo 2024. June seems far away, but I can assure you time will fly and it will be here before we know it. So before we jump into things, my encouragement to you is to buy your rodeo tickets right now. Nights are already selling out, so you don't want to miss your opportunity to experience the wildest, richest rodeo in the West. On this episode of Reno Rodeo 365, we sit down with our general manager, George Combs, and talk business of Reno Rodeo, information from the National Finals Rodeo back in Las Vegas in December, and of course, some information leading up to this year. We also sit down with our first ever female president, Carrie Ann Sattler, while she teases some information about Reno Rodeo 2024, and of course, the most anticipated day of the year, mutton bustin' signups and the lottery. So you will want to tune in for that here in just a moment after this message from our sponsors.
There's no pretending to being a cowboy. Either you are or you aren't. Which is why everything we do as a company improves or preserves this way of life. The romance, the honesty, the toughness, the craft. More cowboys, please. America could use them. Resistol. We live it every day.
All 10 nights were sold out. We seat about 9,000 people per night, so 10 nights, that's 90,000 people. And then we probably had roughly another 150,000 people on the grounds. Besides those 90,000, enjoying the Midway and being able to shop and go to the carnival and be here for the day events. Well, I think that, if you don't have your tickets for 2024 now, you better hurry. We're sold out. There's very limited tickets left. Both Saturdays and Fridays are pretty well sold out. There's a few tickets. There's tickets that will be released after we get done with all the holds and stuff with sponsors that we do and everything else. So once we get those, and then we'll put those back out to sell. But make your plans early. Plan on which nights you want to come. Go to the website. Look at the theme nights if you want to be tied to a theme night. We'll be updating our day events and different things, so we got a lot of exciting things happening during the daytime here also. And then we've got some new stuff that we're working on that we haven't unveiled yet, and our president will be releasing that information here very shortly. We're putting it together for an opportunity for people to be able to come to the grounds even if they don't have a rodeo ticket, and be able to enjoy the rodeo atmosphere and the rodeo by watching it in a viewing party type setting. So more to come on that. I'm going to leave it up to her to talk about that. It's been 3 years since we've done a study, but we're in that $50 million to the city of Sparks and Reno in the community over that 10 days and that means that people come to town and spend money in the hotels, spend money shopping, and spend money at the rodeo, which in turn we turn around and give back into the community. Well, the fact that there's 650 plus professional rodeos in the United States, Canada, and we were voted this last year, 2023, as one of the top 5 rodeos in the country. And when we went to the NFR in December, they chose who was the number 1 rodeo, and so we consider ourselves number 2. But to be the second best out of 650 rodeos is a phenomenal feat in itself, and it states something of how we do things. So that this rodeo association is so passionate with everything that they do and what they give back in the community. But it's not only them; it's our patrons that are passionate too, and our sponsors are even passionate. I mean, the sponsors, we can't do this without having the sponsorship. it has to have the whole nucleus to make it as good as we are, is the passion that everybody brings to the table. They can always call the rodeo office, call me, get the information. We have information on the website also about sponsorships, opportunities. But I would recommend that if they're really interested in it, to call the office, and we'll give them the name of our sponsorship chairman, and they can work directly with them and get what they need, and we can customize their package to fit their needs. Yeah, basically they have PRCA has a convention for all the rodeo committees. It always is the first 3 days before the NFR starts. And so we take a group of people. This year it was over 20 of our executive committee people and officers and myself, and we go down. We not only help the PRCA put on some of this stuff, we help organize the convention. And this year we were 2 days at the convention. We did roundtable discussions to other rodeo committees. So it's a very active. We feel that we're very involved with the PRCA. They have a Hall of Fame gala on Monday night, which we attend every year. They highlight an individual for the Hall of Fame for the PRCA. This year it was Red Steagle. It was a phenomenal gala. It was really, really neat. And then Tuesday, convention. Wednesday and Thursday, they have a trade show with the contract help. So rodeo committees, if they need to hire an announcer or a clown or pickup men or whoever they need to help their rodeo, they can go to this trade show and meet the people and get the information that they need. And then Tuesday night, they have the PRCA does a back number ceremony. So they bring on all the contestants, the top 15 in each event, and they do a back number ceremony where they put them up on stage and honor them and give them their back numbers for the NFR. It's a pretty good time. And then Wednesday night, the PRCA has their awards banquet, and we all attend that. And that this year was the largest one they've ever had. They had over 1,500 people at the awards banquet.
That's a lot of people.
The ballroom at the South Point was full, and the room across the hall had 100 or so people in it. So it was pretty neat, and it's very well supported. And then the rodeo starts on Thursday, except for this year, and that didn't happen because of the incident in Las Vegas. Well, pretty much all the personnel that was listed on the stage, they bring the top 5 of each one of those categories up on stage, and we were represented with all our people were on stage. Everybody that we contract with here was on that stage as a top 5 in their specialty. And so that was pretty phenomenal to have that, to say that, the announcers, both of our announcers, Bob Tallman and Wayne Brooks, they were in the top 5 as announcers of the year. Our sound man that provides the sound and the music for our rodeo, he was in the top 5. So it's really cool, and the timer, the secretaries, all that, all the people that's behind the scenes that help put on the rodeo, to have them and to be up there on that stage that night of the awards banquet is pretty cool. And then to have Cody be the I think that's 3 years in a row now that he's been the Bullfighter of the Year. He is the best in the world, and so it's a great to have him here in Reno too.
I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit more about what the Reno Rodeo officers do outside of what you see in June. There's a lot of business that's behind it, so thank you to George, our general manager, for everything he does, and of course sharing that information. As promised, coming up next, our interview with Reno Rodeo President Carrie Ann and information on this year's rodeo. But first, check out this message from our show sponsors.
1, 2, 3. I'm only here for the vibes, just trying to have a good time. So come on, make your move, make it happen. Time flies, it's time flies, 'cause it's real life. It's going down tonight. Make it happen.
So we're just going to jump into some rapid fire questions before we get down to business. These are really easy. I apologize if I catch you off guard. Chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate.
Okay. Straw or felt hats?
Both. Anybody who knows me knows that's the real answer.
Okay. Do we like pineapple on pizza?
Hard no.
Okay. If you had a horse in the Kentucky Derby, what would you name it?
Oh. Spitfire.
Oh, that's good. Okay. Tricky one here. Timed or rough stock events?
Timed.
All right, here we go. Well, I got to know you a little bit.
I love
it.
it.
Wouldn't be too hard.
That's awesome. I remember coming to the rodeo as a very young little girl, just loving it. I can remember watching the bulls buck. The bulls were my favorite when I was a little girl, that and the barrel racing. And I remember watching the bulls buck from Grandstand 1. We used to always face the sun. I begged to sit in the sun because I love the sun. So we sat in Grandstand 1. And then when I turned 16, I was heavily involved in high school activities, sports, all kinds of things. And I called the Reno Rodeo to see if I could volunteer. Kathy Autry was our secretary at the time, and she said, unfortunately, you have to be 18. So I said, okay, well, if I call back on my birthday, I want my paperwork. So I called back on my 18th birthday, and the rest is history. Yeah, a labor of love. The very first committee I got put on was actually mutton busting. I was a pretty young girl, and there were some great influential women in that space. So I got the opportunity to serve on our mutton busting committee, which was great because I was around kids and I was still young, so it was awesome. And then throughout the years, worked stalls, public parking, worked contestant hospitality, autograph party. Sponsors is probably the one that I spent the most time on. But they've all just been wonderful. It's such a cool experience to see the way that this rodeo is put together from so many different angles. It can be kind of an intimidating experience because our association is so large and the event is so big. But when it really comes down to it, it takes a village. We need as many hands on deck as we can possibly get. And if you have a passion or even a little inkling that you're interested, I just recommend you come down and get involved because it's a family and everybody is so inclusive and supportive about, supporting your interest in whatever it is. Some people feel like if they haven't owned a horse their whole life that it can be a bit of an intimidating experience to walk into. So that's not the truth. Our family didn't own horses until actually after the first time I called the rodeo. So everybody's walk is a little bit different, and I think you just have to take ownership over the interest, and I promise you that the rest will take you for a ride. It's overwhelming and exciting. I think the more involved you get in the Reno Rodeo and the PRCA, the more it just expands exponentially. And so to sit at the helm of a rodeo as large as ours with as much impression as it has, both in the spirit and excitement of the community, but in our impact to the youth in Northern Nevada, I get emotional thinking about it. I have this thing, all my friends and family kind of know that I have a lot of carry-isms, and they're not just mine, but they're just things that I pack around and share, but rub some dirt on it is always one of the things that I come back to. So 2024 theme, rub some dirt on it. This one's kind of special to me. It's a gritty old school term, but what I love about it is I think in today's day and age, it's really important to get gritty. And, so much of what we do is soft, or it can be, delicate. And I guess there's just some element to it. I want to bring grit back to what we do. Get tougher than the challenges that you face and overcome them and create the best work you can create every day. NFR is such a magical time. We go down there, obviously, to network with our peers, other fellow rodeo committees, contract personnel, contestants. Really, the entire ecosystem of rodeo is centered around the National Finals Rodeo. So we spent quite a bit of time with all of our national sponsors. Of course, I spent about 10 years helping with the sponsors committee for the Reno Rodeo. So they're all near and dear friends of mine. But beyond that, they are really we're always looking to level up, right? Everybody wants to take their brand to the next level. Everybody wants to take the rodeo performance to the next level. That's at the core of everything that we do. So we had quite a few meetings with our national sponsors. It was great to spend time with them. Came up with some really cool, very special, one-of-a-kind ideas for 2024. My mission this year at the 2024 rodeo, from a production standpoint, is to really create surprise, an element of surprise. One of the ways that the Reno Rodeo has grown to the scale that it has is by repetition, right? Every year we do the same thing we did last year and we add a little bit more. And that's incremental growth is how we get to the size that we are. George talked a little bit about the opportunity that we got to be nominated for large top 5 rodeo outdoor rodeo of the year. Those incremental changes is what really takes it to the next level. So this year, my mission was to surprise even our oldest of veteran volunteers. We have some jokes inside the association that what part of the performance we're at based on the song that's playing or the words that are said. And some of that is tradition that we don't want to change. But I also want to take some element of surprise and make it magical and exciting. So that's what I got up my sleeve for the year. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but to give you a little teaser, we've always traditionally hired one clown basically for our rodeo. This year we're going to bring two, just to mix it up a little bit and get some variety and spice of life. There's so many great professionals in that realm in the rodeo world, but I was really excited to work with more than one of them in 1 year. One thing that at the NFR this year, actually myself and Carrie Cordisco got the opportunity to host a breakout session, which is basically an education session. We were asked to talk about sponsorship because the Reno Rodeo does such a wonderful job with it. Again, we've had such strong strides in incremental growth and the way that we keep track of our records, what we get to sell to sponsors, how we partner with our sponsors. So one of the pieces of feedback we've received in the last couple of years is that it's hard to understand how Reno Rodeo does it, right? There's a lot of rodeos out there that don't have as much opportunity as we do, or that are still working to create that opportunity for themselves. So I decided this year that I really wanted to take a little bit of a leadership role in that way and share what we know, like share what we do well so that other rodeos can continue to grow themselves. So this year at Reno Rodeo, right at the beginning of our rodeo, we're going to host a scalability conference, which everybody's like, Carrie Ann, what's scalability mean?
Big words.
Yeah, big word. Scalability for me is just taking our formula and sharing it with others. You know, we don't have to share proprietary information. We're all trying to make our independent rodeos special in their own way. But some of it is basic. It's how do you manage your sponsors? How do you manage the assets? How do you make sure that the things that you say will get done actually get done? How do you manage media and marketing for the rodeo? How do you manage your interview process? All of that is it can feel very elusive when you're growing. And so Reno Rodeo is going to take a leadership opportunity and just literally host a conference. There will be a full day of education. In addition to that, visiting committees will get to experience many of the things that we talk about. They'll go to our kickoff concert on the first night. They'll get to eat in our VIP branding room. We have the very first proposal that was presented to our executive board saying, hey, we want to build a branding room. And here we are today. They'll get to eat in that space. They'll get to come to the rodeo performance, go to Extreme Bulls, just learn how we do what we do. And hopefully that'll help the PRCA and our industry continue to grow.
And you mentioned the kickoff concert. I know people are going to comment and ask who it is. We probably don't have that information yet, but do we have some good ideas spinning?
We could tell you, but we might have to kill you.
Well, I would like to see Reno Rodeo 2024, so I don't know.
No, we'll have news coming soon, but we are very excited about some of the prospects we're considering.
Amazing.
This is actually funny for me. Years ago, I bought mannequins, and this has become the big joke, but I dressed the 10 mannequins in the house. Boyfriend is super supportive, and we have no longer, you'll walk through the front door sometimes and be like, oh my gosh, somebody's invaded the house, but they're just the outfits. I like to plan ahead. I get to the point, rodeo is such a big production. It takes a lot of mental focus and physical tenacity to make it through the 10 days of rodeo, because it's not just 10 days, it's all the preparation that goes into it. So one of the things that I like to do is take the wardrobe part off my mind by planning ahead. So I literally walk up to the mannequin, and everything that I pick to put on that night, I put it on my body and I walk out the door. Honestly, I'm a creative person, so I enjoy the process of it, but simultaneously it's turned into survival mode for me to have it that way. So it's fun. You asked me how I started with Reno Rodeo, and of course mutton busting was one of those first committees, and I've had the honor of serving on that committee in all 20 years that I've been with the Rodeo Association. I want to give a huge shout out to Delise Stedman, because she's done so much with the committee and been such a rock in that space. But this year, Delise and I and our entire association are really excited about some changes that we're making. We have 12 kids that ride in the Reno Rodeo every night during the Reno Rodeo performance. Historically, that has sold out, or basically we've had those spots filled within 3 minutes. We just recently went to a lottery strategy to kind of open up the opportunity to make it a little bit more fair, so it's not just the people who are sitting at the computer at go time. So that's an exciting change that last year was the first year we did it lottery style for that draw. This year, we're going to change up 3 different things I want to tell you about. Number one, the application process goes live on February 1st, and it will be open for about a week. It's really important to know that there's going to be a sponsorship opportunity on the application this year. So we're going to pick 12 kids that Reno Rodeo is going to sponsor to ride for free.
That's amazing.
Just to kind of help, sometimes it's a financial obligation, sometimes it's just not having the opportunity or not understanding. So everybody will get to apply to be a Reno Rodeo sponsored rider. We'll have 12 of those spots. In addition to that, we are going to basically auction off or have raffles for 12 other positions. So you don't have to necessarily be in at the time that we go, that we close applications to still have an opportunity. Those opportunities will come after the close of the distribution of the lottery spots. And then the one that is my biggest heart song and something that I have really been wanting to bring to Reno Rodeo for quite some time in the mutton busting front is scholarships. So my goal is to have $2,500 per night for one lucky winner. It will be a random drawing out of the 12 riders from that night, and they will get $2,500 for a college scholarship that we'll put in a fund that will continue to accrue money over the next, time in their life. And, you have to be 5 to 7, so it'll probably take them another 10 years before we hear the first college story. But I'm really looking forward to that time. Like, that's what I want to see in the next 10 to 12 years for Reno Rodeo, is just a ton of scholarships built up for these kids to have a future in education. It's so easy to connect with, right? You're just like, you're rooting for them to do good. You're also rooting for them to overcome their own fears and anxiety that comes from the chaos of being a mutton buster. Like, it's a lot to take in at that age, so it's really cool to watch the kids go. Bless this community, because we have them trained to be on the computer at 10 a.m. on February 1st. Gone is the day. So any time in the application process is not going to give you hierarchy or ranking. We take all that's pulled, and it's now an official lottery. So any time in the application period is good. Definitely get your tickets. We're going to have such a great year, and thank you to you and your team for everything that you guys do to get the word out. We really appreciate it, and we cannot wait to see you at the Reno Rodeo.
I hope you are just as excited for June as I am after hearing that message from our president, Carrie Ann Sattler. I know that June 20th will be here before we know it, so as I've encouraged, please buy your rodeo tickets online at renorodeo.com. If you see a night that's unavailable or you're not sure what ticket availability is like, call the rodeo office. There are nights that are blocked off for weekends and special performances that aren't available online yet. So if you want your hand in getting those tickets, please call the rodeo office or come down yourself, pick up a rodeo sticker, rub some dirt on it, and of course your Reno Rodeo merchandise. There's jewelry, there's travel cups, there's clothes, and so much more. Gentlemen, Valentine's Day is right around the corner, and rodeo tickets would make a perfect gift for your lady, so you can check that out and of course grab a piece of Montana Silversmith jewelry to pair with that. Next time on Reno Rodeo 365, we are sitting down with the First Lady herself, Jessica Betts, Miss Reno Rodeo 2024. So if you have questions for her on her reign, her year, anything about rodeo queening that is piquing your interest, please let us know in the show comments. We would be happy to ask her that information and bring it back to you, our viewers. Of course, please like, share, comment, and interact with us on Reno Rodeo 365. We are here to serve you in our community. If there are special guests throughout the year that you want to hear from, we will do our best to bring them to you and your screens. Otherwise, Happy New Year, and thank you so much for tuning in to our first episode of 2024. I'm your host, Jen Fisk, and we can't wait to rub some dirt on it.